Hello. Welcome to the D&A Pest Control Podcast. Today is Free Talk Friday. I hope everyone is having a great Friday so far and a great year. I hope a lot better than the last, right? So I'm excited for the Super Bowl. Guys, I don't know if anyone's watching that. This is Super Bowl weekend. It is going to be exciting. I don't know who your team is. To be honest, I have a few different teams, but I am rooting for the Bucks. I do like Brady. Don't judge and don't hate. So I am hoping for a really good game. That's the most important thing. But I am excited for that. Let's see if Brady can take home number 7. 7 Super Bowls, man. That would be nuts. But today I want to go over something really interesting. So if you guys have not followed a little bit of what's happened here in my company, and this is Daniel with the DNA Pest Control Podcast. So I have a company. I am an owner of a company. And luckily being an owner, I get to have a lot of experience in a lot of different things, which, a lot of guys, a lot of technicians, if you're listening, you may not even go through it. You may not even experience ever in your entire career, but it's something really cool. So one thing that happened to us is we had one of my technicians got stopped by the ag department. Okay. In the state of California, and I don't know how other states work, we actually have 2 departments, and I just learned this recently, so it's really kind of something crazy I didn't even know about. So we have something called the Structural Pest Control Board, okay? The Structural Pest Control Board is run by the state, and they issue all of the licenses to technicians, applicator licenses, branch 2, branch 1, branch 3, operator's license. We have some episodes on that. So if you've been following with us, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. On top of that, there is the ag department. Okay. So the ag department is broken up into counties, and those counties obviously are underneath the state. So they have the state commissioner that's over all of agricultural, and then they have their county. And in the counties, they have their own little workers and their own group of people. Some counties are larger than others. Obviously, LA is going to be a massive county. They probably have quite a bit of ag workers. You come up to Sacramento, it starts getting really small. And then some of the other counties around Sacramento, there's only maybe 1 or 2 people working there. Plus office staff. So there's not a lot of agriculture people. So we got pulled over by the ag department, not by the structural pest control departments. So they both are actually out there checking up on technicians. The Structural Pest Control Board, okay, is for, just like it's in the name, it's a structure. So you're allowed to get a license to spray a structure, a home, a business. The ag department is over something called DPR or QAL license, okay? So the QAL license allows you to spray yards, to spray fields. You could get if you have a pilot's license, you could actually do the crop dusting, spraying crops, in an airplane. That would be all underneath the ag department, not the Structural Pest Control Board, okay? So the ag department stopped one of my guys, okay? So the ag department is above the Structural Pest Control Board. They're kind of controlling those guys. So the ag department pulled over a guy. Long story short, he had 2 bottles on the truck that were unlabeled that were weed control bottles. Completely my fault. I'm not going to argue that whatsoever. They do the whole inspection. He actually gets everything corrected right on the spot. And then about 11 business days, so we're talking 2 weeks, 15 days total, maybe a little over that. Actually, when we finally got it, it was about 3 weeks. 3 weeks to a month, we get a fine that came in the mail. And look, I'm not against paying a fine. We did something wrong. I'm totally for that. What I'm against is, why do you guys you can send me email correspondence within seconds, but you can't send me a fine? I wasn't okay with that. So anyway, you have the option. You get a fine. You can either go and do a sit down with the ag commissioner, and you can kind of fight it out, or you can even take them to court. So you can go as far as saying, you know what, I don't even want to sit down with you guys. We're going straight to court. We're getting lawyers. We're going through this, and I'm fighting you on this. We didn't jump to that conclusion because we didn't need to. The fines weren't a lot. It's a couple $100. But I wanted to sit down with them because I felt, hey, that's not okay. There's a few things I don't agree with right here, okay? So the whole process is really kind of crazy. So first, they send us everything, and we say, no, we're not paying the fines. We want to have an actual hearing. Didn't want to go to court. You have that option too. We just want the hearing. So we said, nope, hearing. We're going to the hearing. So we went to the hearing. We send in all the paperwork. Within a couple weeks, they send stuff back saying, hey, we're going to find out a date that we can get this done. So for us, it actually took about 3 months to get an actual date, which is fine. It was December. It was over the holidays. COVID's still going on like crazy. So for me, I didn't really care. It was like whatever. They apologized, which was really amazing that they would even apologize, saying, hey, sorry we took so long. But I didn't care. I was gone. I was in Cancun. I did a bunch of stuff. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. Taking a drink real quick. So you have to get to the hearing. So we get to the hearing, and we go straight to the ag department. You get there, and they have a pre-hearing. And the pre-hearing is you sit down with, and I'm not sure exactly how their whole system's structured, but so from what I understood is there are ag inspectors. So ag inspectors are just kind of the lowball guys that are out there inspecting places, doing different things. They're just making sure we're doing everything correctly. And then a step above them is their boss. I'm not exactly sure what his title is or was. Maybe actually I have it in here. But so essentially he's there, and he's kind of sitting in. So he's not even the one who inspected us, but he does a pre-hearing with us. So the pre-hearing is he give us literally this thick binder. Okay, it's an inch. If you can imagine, I'll take a picture of it. It's an inch thick binder, and they literally go through and they fill out this thing with all tabs, okay? Which is nuts that they even went through this. So it's kind of, if you're going to go to a hearing, you better have your shit together, because if you don't, they will eat you alive with all the evidence they have. And they have pictures, they have everything. So make sure if you're getting pulled over by the ag department in California, you're taking pictures, you're recording everything. Cause if you don't, they will, just so you know. So then they go through and they say, okay, look, did you get all of the documents? So they're like, did you get the inspection report? And if you didn't, here's your inspection report, which we failed under service container labeling, and that's it. Service container labeling. So they hit us on that, which was correct. Anyway, so then they go through and they have all the paperwork in here as well. And if you can hear the papers, I'm literally flipping through this giant book. So anyway, so they go through all of this. They literally have the fines set out. So a total of our fines were $350. One was for the California Code Regulations, Section 6678, and Food and Agricultural Code 11732. One was because of the labeling itself. Another one was because we actually weren't licensed to spray weeds. Now, that was something really interesting because we ended up reaching out to them. Once we found that out, we sent in a check. We got everything taken care of immediately. I'm not even for that. That's crazy. But we asked them, we said, hey, well, do you guys send out anything beforehand? No, they don't. They actually don't do any reminders. So these guys I don't know why. It's like, why wouldn't you send out a reminder to get your $75, $100, whatever we pay them? It's crazy. It's just free money. Just send it out. And if they don't comply and they're, spraying, perfect. You get to fine them. But at least you sent out a notice. No notice is sent, nothing. So now we know. So we have it all in our system. But because I am newer to owning a business, I didn't know that. And there's a lot of learning curve. So any of you guys actually, a lot of you technicians who are like, I could start my own business. I can do this. You probably can, but there is a lot to it, okay? So if you're going to start your own business, at least in California, get prepared to have to renew all of your business licenses, okay? Your business license is not the same as your pest control license. You have to renew your business license. You have to renew your county licenses to spray pesticides. You have to renew your your QAL license if you spray weeds or anything like that. So if you're doing weed control, but then on top of that, you also have to apply for that and fill out all this information of equipment used, serial numbers, everything. Okay. So there's a lot to it. And that's just so you can do business inside those counties, inside those areas. So be prepared. And not only do you have to do counties, you have to go into cities, and then you have to pay all their licenses. So it's really kind of crazy, but just be prepared if you do that. So anyway, so they go through and they actually, in this binder, this massive binder they have, and it doesn't really matter because you can look up her information, but Cassandra J. Flores is the agricultural commissioner of the county of Sacramento. So she's the one who decides the fines and who sends everything over to us. The guy below her is who we were talking to, Dave. And I have nothing bad to say about this guy, okay? He's a great guy. We talked to him for a good hour beforehand, and we went through everything, and I just picked his brain on everything that was going on, and he really broke everything down for me, and explained exactly everything, which is awesome. But so they have to send you a whole packet of preparing for the hearing, which we got, and they put that in the packet, and then they have all these emails and correspondence sending back and forth, which we have. So it's crazy, but notice of a hearing date they go through. They also have so then they go through the pre-hearing and the pre-hearing stipulations. And so the whole point of a pre-hearing, which is really kind of interesting why they would even do this. I don't know why they do this to be. Oh, right here. So the purpose of a pre-hearing conference immediately before the hearing, the county advocate may request a pre-hearing conference. Oh, and I didn't request this, so he just did it with me. The purpose of a pre-hearing conference is to obtain stipulations for agreements about facts relevant to the case. The parties, okay. So this is essentially us just coming to an agreement before the actual, so another, like a lawyer actually shows up and he records everything. Okay, so the pre-hearing, there was no recording. There was nothing. I could have cussed this Dave guy out. And it's just my word against his. No one knows. And obviously my guy was there too because they asked him to be there. But the pre-hearing is to go through everything. So they have and this is what I mean. Like if you're going up against the ag, make sure that you have everything ready because I'm sure they had to have spent, they had to have spent a couple of days on this stuff. So they go through and they say, okay, look, this is everything we have essentially that we did. And there is 6 pages of different things, okay? I'll take a picture of the front of the book and I'll take a picture a quick snapshot of what this looks like. So the pre-hearing stipulations, and when the actual lawyer guy gets there to record everything, he goes through all of this with us. And he goes through and reads it all and essentially says, okay, do you agree? Yes or no? If you don't agree, so like right here. So respondent received the notice of proposed action, NOPA, referencing ACP-SAC-20/21-014. I don't even know what that is, but yeah, that's probably really bad to say. But I don't remember what that is. But that's just essentially them sending over certain paperwork. And they explain, okay, look, this is the pre-hearing. That's what that paperwork is. Did you get it? Do you agree? And then they have a respondent in the county. The county will sign, yes, we sent it. And the respondent has to say, no, I didn't get that, or yes, I did. And then the evidence saying that I did or didn't get it. I said yes. And then they said the county received the hearing request. Yes, they did. We have all that evidence right here. We sent it in. Yes, I agreed to it. Respondent received the notice of hearing. Yes, I did. I have to initial this. And then they say the description regarding the violations, which is where we got the fines. Yes, I did. And then it says me, Daniel Fiedler, QAL, gives me the number, the operator, ProSip Press Management. And it kind of goes through everything, gives the employee's name, that he was employed on the day that he was fined. Yes, he was. They even have the address, and then you got to agree to it. So they have all this, and they have 6 pages of this stuff. And then they even have evidence of some of the things, like right here, California Code of Regulations, CCR 6140, grants county agriculture commissioners, CACs, and their representatives the authority to conduct inspections of pesticide applications and the areas of pesticides are stored. And if they say, do you agree with that? I can say, no, I'm not going to sign that. And then they're going to say, okay, well, we have evidence with this, and it's CCR 6140. That's the law. And they have these tabs, A1, A2, B1, B2, B3, all the way C, D, E. And they have all of the evidence, and they print out where it states in the law. They highlight it. They had to have, I feel bad for these guys because I made them go through probably a week's worth of work with all of them on this, trying to make this whole booklet so that they're going to find me $350. Which I apologize, Dave, if you do listen to this podcast. I'm sorry that I did that. But I do have a right to do this. So also, so I guess not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But the next one, which I got some more clarification, I said, okay, so there's a California Code of Regulations, CCR 6141, grants county agriculture commissioners, CACs, and the representatives and the authority to conduct interviews with employees of a pest control business during work hours. Okay, this is really interesting. So I got some clarification on this because she actually was on her way to work. She wasn't even technically on the clock. That's not what this states. So if that was the case, I would have actually said, no, I don't agree with that. We're going to talk about that and we're going to clarify that. But it's not if they are on the clock. It's if we are on the clock. It's if I clocked in. So if my guy didn't actually clock in and he wasn't, he could be working, but he technically wasn't on business hours, he could actually tell them, no, per your law, so the California Code of Regulations, 6141, grants the county, and the representatives to inspect me during business hours. I am not on business hours right now. Sorry. And he could have turned them away, and she would have had to leave. So now he couldn't have sprayed anything, and he couldn't have worked, which wouldn't have worked out. But so really, really interesting on some of these laws. Okay, so now another big one that I asked because I was like, no, you guys took almost a month to send this all over to me. Why can't you guys be giving me fines right in the, on the spot? It's like a traffic ticket. You pull me over, This is a violation. Here's the fine. Well, they get to decide the fines, which I also don't agree with. So they go and they have a little powwow and they decide, okay, you know what? This guy's cool. We're going to make it so we don't fine him as much as we should. Oh, you know what? This company, they've had a lot of violations and they really don't care. And so you know what? We're going to fine them even more. They get to decide that, which I'm not really happy about that. I think they can create levels, just like highway patrolmen do. You're speeding between this and this speed. This is your violation. This is your ticket. They can lower that speed limit and say, look, you were still going over, but I'm going to make it a mile over. So you're only paying $100 instead of $300, because if I would have put, 25 miles over the speed limit, you'd be getting, fined a ton more. So I'm doing you a favor. Which I think is cool because they do that all right there on the spot. Here they have, ready? Let me find it. I want to give you the exact words, which is just crazy. Here it is. The Sacramento County Agriculture Commissioner issued an enforcement action fine to my company within the period of time allowed from the date of violation of CCR 6678 noted of inspection report. And then it goes through all the numbers. This period of time is defined in FAC 13000 as within 2 years of the occurrence of the violation. 2 damn years. Can you believe that? These guys can pull you over, inspect your vehicle, and essentially 2 years later, actually before 2 years, they can say, hey, by the way, we're going to fine you. That's nuts. So we went through this whole thing, and the hearing guy got there, and the lawyer, whatever I don't remember his name, he showed up, he started reading through everything, and he's like, okay, it looks like you agreed to everything. And I said, I do agree to everything. All of my questions were answered, because my issue was you guys didn't send me this fine until way later, way after we already fixed the issue, and we fixed the issue right on the spot. Why would you be fining us? It's like, what? It's like a cop. He pulls you over. Oh, you don't have a license plate on front. Oh, sorry, it's right here. I just forgot to place it. You put it on, he's going to say, okay, well, you fixed the problem. See you later. I guess he could technically still give you a ticket because you didn't have it when he pulled you over. But more than likely, they're going to say, whatever, dude. Just get out of here. You fixed the problem. You're good. So that was kind of my issue. Now that I know the laws, I don't agree with them, but I'm not the type of person to go and be ignorant and fight and, throw a fit and kick and scream on the floor over $350. I'll just pay the fine, but I think it's stupid. And I actually went under. So he was recording everything, and this recording goes to the DPR. I'm actually going to be saved in their records for this, which I'm totally fine with because I voiced my opinion. I don't agree with that. I don't agree that you guys get to take 2 years to decide, when the violation actually occurs, that you decided to fine me. So 2 years later, if you pulled one of my guys over and you said, you know what, we really don't like this company anymore, you're going to fine me? I mean, there's got to be some type of action before that. You can't just decide, hey, I'm going to fine these guys 2 years later because I did an inspection 2 years ago. There needs to be a closure date way before then, and I get it. If you're America's Most Wanted and you raped a kid and then you got away with it and they're looking for you and it's been 40 years. Yeah, there's not a time limit on that because they never caught you. So until they catch you, then they have a time limit to actually prosecute you and get that all done. Here, it's like you already pulled me over. You already caught me. Now you get 2 years to decide if you want to get this done or not. You're a small county. There's not that many companies within that county that you're inspecting on a daily basis. And even then, hire more people. You're getting more fines. You have a bigger budget. At least you should. So I didn't agree with it, but I voiced my opinion during this whole thing and this whole hearing, and I just let them know, hey, look, I don't agree with that. I think that's really stupid. And the guy who was recording the hearing, he kind of was like, well, I'm not going to defend you, but, what we did was actually very quick, and it was a very, fast process to get you these fines and the violations and everything like that. And then he kind of slipped up, and I don't think he meant to, because he kind of was given examples of other areas, because he doesn't only do hearings for the ag department. He does hearings all over the state, over all, a bunch of different departments. And he ended up slipping up and saying, yeah, some departments only have a couple months to get this done. And I'm like, okay, there you go. Why are you guys allowed 2 years? Which these laws probably were put into place who knows how long ago, when, they had one ag, working on, files like this, and they needed 2 years. But you guys have a whole team. You can hire more people. And if you're finding more people, you're doing more inspections, you're going to get a ton of money to take care of this. So, but it was just kind of interesting to hear that and see that. And then there are different classes of violations that you can fall under. And they kind of went through it like a Class C violation is defined in California regulations as a violation of a law or regulation that does not mitigate the risk of an adverse health, property, or environmental effect. So like we got hit with some things where there's no, it even states, does not mitigate the risk of adverse health. It's not, there's nothing that's going to happen. But even then, here's your fine because you did it, and here it is a month later, because we just didn't want to get to it. But we can send you emails back and forth weeks before that, getting everything done. But the reason why, so I'll get a little bit more into it because I'm heated about it still. I'm still a little irritated. But so Dave ended up explaining everything to me. And he told me essentially what happens is the ag inspectors go and inspect the vehicles. That's all they do. They don't decide the fines. They're not allowed to decide the fines, which may be something these guys want to look at. They may not have, they should probably look at how police officers do it and how highway patrol do it. Because they should be allowed to give fines right on the spot. And then we should be allowed to go and fight those fines in a court system, and possibly even go to a judge or to the commissioner. And, because I don't know what the commissioner does. I don't know what this Cassandra does all day. Cassandra Flores. I have no idea. You have all these people doing their thing, and then you just sit down and decide what the fines are going to be. You probably have a lot of time on your hands. I don't know what her job entails, so I'm not going to get into it because I'm not going to attack her for this because it's not her problem. It was my problem. I didn't have the bottles, But it's just really interesting to kind of see that. But anyway, so the ag inspectors go out. They go and find people, okay? In majority of cases I've found out is a lot of the bigger companies that are doing fumigations at giant warehouses, they have to send in a notice saying, hey, we're going to be fumigating this building this day, this time. And when that occurs, the ag department will actually send out an inspector to go and inspect that vehicle and that technician at that time, right on the spot. So they know a lot where these technicians are going to be. So if you get, an ag on you, an ag inspector, it was just kind of dumb luck that they found you. Because, how many vehicles are out there running around and they just happen to drive in a neighborhood where you're treating? It's crazy. It's just like the likelihood of it happening. But so they go and inspect, they find everything that's wrong, and then they go up to their higher ups, which that would be Dave. Dave goes through, in this situation with the Sacramento County Agriculture Department. So then Dave goes through and he kind of looks us up and he does a little bit more digging. And in that case, he'll find more things, which he'll tell his ag inspector to send to us, or he'll kind of take a few steps back. If it was a first violation, he'll kind of sweep it underneath the rug, maybe give us a warning, things like that. He may allow it. But then he brings that to Cassandra, and then she gets to look at everything. So then he's kind of sitting there coaching her on, hey, these guys haven't done anything. We should really be good on them. Hey, these guys were really fast in responding and getting everything we needed and done. Because I found out we got everything done within 24 hours. We actually got everything done within 8 hours, less than. Because her inspection was done at, I think, like 8 or 7:30 in the morning. And we had all the information she needed the second she sent it over. She sent it over at 10:30. We had it back in her hands with an email, everything done probably by 10:35, 10:40. I mean, we were on it. We were getting it done. We were getting stuff done within minutes. Trying to make sure that we're doing our part, because I don't look at these guys as, negative people or they're the bad guys. They're making sure we're doing everything safely. They're making sure that, we're following the laws so that these things don't get taken away. Just like if you go back and listen to AB 1788, that episode about the new law that passed, that was because, somebody wasn't following the rules. Someone wasn't doing what they should have been doing. And partially, I don't think they didn't do enough research, but if everybody was doing the right thing, nothing should have really gotten to where it got to where we lost a massive amount of bait that was really good. So he talks to her, Cassandra, the ag commissioner, and then over the county of Sacramento, and then they send they send us the fine once they decide what that fine should be and where it falls under. Which, for me, I'm new, which Dave was super understanding, which is awesome that I got to put a face to who he is and he got to see who the owner is. But I let him know I'm new. I just took over not too long ago, 2 years ago. So whatever happened prior, it actually wasn't underneath my ownership or me as an operator, which, they don't care, which they don't need to care because businesses sell and buy and everything all the time. So whatever happens under my company, it doesn't really matter if it was, way back in 2014 or if it happened today. They don't care either, which I don't blame them. I didn't know any of this. I didn't know that we had previous violations, and that's why they actually sent us some of these fines, is because we violated the labeling at one point. I had no idea. But he brought it to light back in 2017. We did. I didn't know that. They have all that information. I had no idea. So that's kind of how the ag works in the county of Sacramento. Outside of that, I'm not sure exactly how it works. But if you go to a hearing and you're going to fight them on something, or even if you want to just get, something out that you're frustrated about, you have the right to a hearing. And I want to thank Dave. I want to thank Alex, I think's his name, the guy that was recording everything. I want to thank those guys because they were very understanding. They were very patient. I think the Alex guy, I'm just going to call him Alex. That may not be his name. He even said afterwards, he said, "You know what? I'm glad you guys came. I'm glad we had this talk. I'm glad that you got everything out that you need to get out. You have a right to exercise, and fight what happened. That's part of the law. That's part of your right. And we're thankful for you doing this." And they were actually really awesome about it. They were thanking us for being there. And I was just thrown back. So I don't think every county's that way. I don't think all of the commissioners are going to be that nice. I don't think hearings are going to go that well for everybody. But in the Sacramento County, I will say I am not afraid to get inspected, and I am not afraid to fight them. And I don't feel, because that was one thing before I owned it, the previous owner, I did hear about some fines. This was other fines that came through that were more serious. Is he said, "Pam, shut him up. Let's just move on with life. Let's not even go after him. Let's not fight it. Let's not do anything. Let's just, here's your money, bye. Because he was so scared that we're going to be under the radar now. And after doing this and walking out, I don't feel that Dave's looking at me. I don't feel that the commissioner's looking at me. I don't feel that the county of Sacramento even cares that I did what I just did. And I even, went up against them, a giant beast, and I'm just throwing punches at them. They didn't even care. It wasn't even a hiccup in their day. And they were more than willing to answer all my questions and walk through everything. So if you're a technician in any state that actually has ag commissioners and fines and things like that, and you can go to a hearing, I suggest going to a hearing. I suggest going and listening and going through that process and fighting them. And not because it's to slap them in the face or be, dicks or anything or disrespectful, but go through that process to get that underneath, to have that there. One of my guys came with me because they asked him to be a witness there. And so he got to hear all this. He got to see all this, which is a massive, that is huge. It is a huge learning experience to have him walk out and say, hey, I've done that. Not only here, but now if he goes somewhere else, hopefully he doesn't, but if he does, and they go through this process and they have no idea what it's like, he's right there saying, hey, this is what's going to happen. They're super cool. This is the process. This is what you'll do. You're going to get a binder. They're going to have all the evidence. And so you can kind of prep, because I didn't get this binder until I showed up. So, I had my evidence, if you want to call it. I was not prepared for this. This was like crazy intense, and they had everything. They have pictures in here of the violations of the bottles not labeled and then labeled. They are on top of it. If they fine you, they are fining you for a reason, and they have specific evidence against you. Now, maybe in some cases, they may just not like you and try to do stupid stuff like that, depending on, the ag inspector, on that day. But as of the Sacramento County Ag, they're on it. They are on it. They are doing a great job. They are making sure they have everything in line to, if they need to fine you, they're going to fine you. But this was a cool experience. Go and experience it if you do ever have that opportunity. I hope you don't. I hope you don't get fined. I hope you don't have them, find anything. But if they do, don't use that as a negative. Use that as a positive to learn from it. Even from my previous episodes where I was heated and I was screaming and yelling, I'm using this as a learning experience. I'm using this to know, okay, that will never, ever happen again here, ever. If they pull over one of my guys and find something else, it will never happen again. We got pulled over by another ag way back when with another technician that used to work here. He didn't have a tag on his B&G. Guess what? All the trucks have extra tags on every B&G. For all of the tanks, everything, they have all extra tags in the trucks. And the reason is so if that ever comes up again, a tag falls off, those guys know, put a new tag on. I'm preventing that. And so this is something that I'll prevent, and I'll make sure that all my guys, if they ever grab an empty tip and pour and they decide to throw chemical in it, that there's a label on it. They're writing down everything they need to write down on it. They know what to look for. They know how to fix that. But go through it, guys. Go through it, meet those people. And if you're not going through it, go into the ag commissioner. Go in and talk to those people. Go in and find out who they are. And meet them and run through some things, because they're on our side. If we didn't exist, guess what? They wouldn't exist either. Because there's no fines, there's no funding. Eventually it would be something that dies and goes away, like libraries. Eventually, some places just kick them out because there is nothing more there. So they don't survive without us, and we don't survive without them. Meaning if we didn't have some of these laws, because some people are really stupid and they probably would try to drink this, just like the Tide Pod challenge. where kids are dying because they're eating Tide Pods. We would probably have the same thing here. It wouldn't surprise me if some dude's just chomping down on contract or some rat bait midday because he got hungry. So so it is a good thing. But go in, meet them, get to know them, ask them all the questions you need. I am trying to get him on. I'm trying to get Dave here onto the podcast. Hopefully he will agree to it. Hopefully he will get it done. And send me your questions for him. Okay. I don't know when the time frame is of when he can get here and we can get him on this, but I will get somebody in here. So send me questions. Okay. Best way is the DNA Pest Podcast on Instagram. Send us there. You can send it to the email at DNA Pest Control Podcast at gmail.com. That's another way to get a hold of us. Or you can even go to the website, DNA pestpodcast.com. And that has a link to, contact us. So just let us know what questions you would like us to ask. Even if it's out of your state, maybe this guy can help out a little bit. I don't know. But I'm going to break everything down, some of the myths that are going on within the state of California, and hopefully he can answer a lot of those questions and clear up a lot of weird stuff that goes on in this industry. Because I know a lot of older guys, owners, they create things, they scare techs to do certain stuff so they don't get fined. But thanks for listening in, guys, to the DNA Pest Control Podcast. I do look forward to hearing from you, and I am excited for the episodes to come. And thanks for listening to this Free Talk Friday.